Hello and welcome back. Another episode of Your Drone Questions Answered. I'm John Dickow here to answer your drone questions that you submit. And today's drone question is, how can drones be used to help file an insurance claim? So today I have Bobby Beard. He's an independent adjuster who's used the drones exactly for that. So Bobby, thank you for being here today. So I'm just going to let you introduce yourself, talk a little bit about how you got into this, how you got into starting using a drone for this kind of work.
So I'm Bobby Beard, as he said. I started about 12 years ago in the flood insurance industry. Did that for roughly 12 years. Last year, or maybe beginning of this year, took on homeowners insurance. Wanted to learn that side of the insurance. Got deployed to Nashville, Tennessee during a big storm event that came through, and there was lots of roof damages. So while out there, I met other roofing companies that were coming out, and they were using drones. I was like, this is interesting, and obviously being in Nashville is a lot of two-story, three-story homes. And so while getting out there and kind of meeting these roofers and they were using drones, I had to start getting on these roofs and climbing around. And of course I'm getting up there in age. So I was like, this is some of this, parts of this is dangerous. So that got me thinking about getting a drone. So I went and bought one and started using it, obviously without a license right away, and realized I did need a license. So as soon as I got done with that deployment, I came home and started doing some research on how to get licensed because I had no idea. I didn't know how strict it was or anything until I started digging into it. During my research, I found that it seemed like everybody recommended, Drone Launch Academy. So I chose them, chose you guys out, obviously. Went ahead and took all the classes. Of course, it was extremely hard, in my opinion. It was difficult to get the license, but
Yeah.
went and took it, maced it, and was, pretty happy about that. But yeah, so, just doing the insurance claims on roofs, there was sections I couldn't get to, obviously, and I would throw the drone up and take photos and kind of went from there.
Very cool. Very cool. And so getting into the meat of the question, some ways it's a little obvious. I mean, drone has that advantage of just launching something up in the air to take a look at it. But how exactly are you doing this? What are you looking for? How does that work when you put a drone up and begin an inspection?
Typically, you've either got a hailstorm damage or you have windstorm damage. So I'm looking for hail impacts, which I was quite shocked to learn that the drone could focus in close enough that you could actually see the impacts from hail. The other one again, the wind, and that's where the shingles have let loose and they're creased. So,
Mhm.
getting up there and scanning the roof, I do, obviously left to right or right to left and scan, taking pictures the whole time. And then when I get back to my computer, download the photos, and I could go through and actually identify the damages. And luckily, the insurance company I was working for at the time, the carrier, they would let us use drones. So, if I couldn't get up high enough, they label it drone footage and they would
Mhm.
accept it. Of course, I would, annotate, make highlights of what the damage was on the photo itself.
Oh, excellent. And so what type of drone do you use for this kind of work? I imagine it's got to take, at least good enough imagery.
Honestly, I got the DJI Air 2S.
Okay.
And it's been perfect for what I need. I think they're higher models, but for what I've needed, it's been perfect.
Very cool. Now, do you use any software after, say after you go up and you fly the drone, you come back with your images, you get to your computer. Is there any software you're using to help identify potential damage, or do you just know what to look for?
I know what to look for. However, I have seen there. It seems like there are some programs out there that's coming out recently that's used just for that purposes. I guess you can upload the photos and it scans the photos and identifies the damages for you. That's something I look forward to looking into. I haven't done it yet. Currently, I just download them, take a look at them, and I can identify the damages myself.
Yeah. And obviously, you've got the experience where you know what you're looking for. So, if I can ask, what do you look for for an example, like say in a hailstorm?
Well, the main thing is like an impact. So you have two different impacts. You have, just everyday people walking on the roof, not every day, but people walking on the
Mhm.
roof. But in hill, it's kind of hard to describe, but there's a certain pattern you're looking for. It's almost like a volcano. You can see where the granulars have risen around the edge, where you can see it's like an impact. It didn't get all, it didn't like slide off. It's impacting. And
Mhm.
it's usually a circular in nature, or if it's coming at an angle, it'll be like a U shape.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Now, you mentioned you had worked for an insurance company, so you were working kind of through them to do this kind of work.
Correct.
And I'm not sure, I'm kinda just throwing this out there, I have no idea, but I can imagine there's some kinda cost savings for that company knowing that you can get maybe a drone up in the air instead of a person on the roof or anything like that. Is there any what's kinda that benefit between having a person go up there and having a drone up there, or is it really just convenience?
Well, it's a lot of things. It's safety, number one. You're
Mhm.
putting yourself in some positions that, if you need to get those photos and you're not quite comfortable with it, you're pushing yourself to where maybe you shouldn't push yourself. So the safety is a huge aspect of that for me personally. Second aspect is, we can, once we get to a certain height of a house, two-story, the particular carrier I was looking for will let us call in what they call ladder assist, which
Mhm.
is a roofing company or something like that. That's trained. It's got, rope and harness that's safety certified to climb those roofs. If we can avoid having to call, a secondary company in to do the inspection for us, and we can capture that footage with a drone, then of course it saves that money, safety. It's a lot of different things.
Okay. The advantage is clear, I think, when it comes to using a drone. And I think you found yourself a pretty interesting niche here, like use case to use a drone within an existing industry, an existing business. A lot of people at Drone Launch Academy want to do just that. They're looking for ways to either start their own business or apply a drone to what they're already doing. And that's exactly kind of what you did, which is kind of cool. So I like to ask this question towards the end of each interview. What kind of advice do you have for somebody who's looking to do that? It doesn't have to be insurance, but somebody who has no idea how drones work, how to operate it, but have that interest. What would you say to them?
It's funny that I use this drone for this particular purpose of insurance, but also I own a couple restaurants and a couple bars here in Panama City, Florida. We started doing some advertisement on social media, Facebook, TikTok, and I've actually started deploying that drone in some of those advertisements, getting overviews of the buildings. And since then, I've connected with other local people that do drone footage for like weddings or, for real estate. So I've been talking to them, and it's funny that they have enough work. They're offering me to come out and do some drone footage for them. So I think there's a lot of potential out there. Like that, in my opinion, especially in my area, there's not a whole lot of people that do it or doesn't do it professionally. There's a lot of market out there. Just reaching out to real estate agents and offering them the ability to do drone footage of a neighborhood or a home they're selling, wedding events. There's so many events in every town that you get drone footage of that you could charge for. So just having that ability, just learning, just using it as a necessity for insurance and then
Mhm.
getting the license has opened up this a whole other world that I never really thought about.
That's very cool. And so, yeah, you're involved with all not just the insurance industry, but the restaurant, and you're finding ways to apply that there. And that's very cool. It sounds like it can only grow from there. And so I appreciate you sharing that. And you did all the right things as well. I mean, you found something, you found it interesting, you tried it, and then you got certified to do it. So that's just another really important step and a great example for our listeners. So, Bobby, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your experience here and sharing how you apply a drone within the insurance industry and do this kind of work. It is inspiring to a lot of people in the DLA to do that kind of thing for themselves. So I want to thank you for coming on again and knowing now that you have done work outside of insurance with a drone. Maybe if we get a question related, we might reach out to you again if we have
All right,
anything to do
sounds
with
good.
videography. All right, Bobby. Thanks for joining me. And hey, you can submit your own drone questions and we will find the answer to them. You can submit them at ydqa.io. We'll see them. We'll find someone who can answer it. Or if you're part of the Drone Launch Connect community, go ahead, type it in there. We'll see it. We'll look for the answer. Until then, we'll see you in the sky.